Did Meghan Markle just copy Pamela Anderson's cooking show and still manage to stay in Netflix's good graces? The headlines made it look like a win, but the truth is anything but. When news broke that Meghan Markle's upcoming cooking series looked suspiciously similar to Pamela Anderson's Pamela's Cooking with Love, the internet lit up. The titles weren't just close, they were nearly identical. Both featured a focus on wellness, homemade recipes, and a soft, slow-paced aesthetic. Fans quickly accused Meghan of copying Pamela's concept, with some even calling it a straight-up ripoff. But Pamela's response? Utterly graceful and quietly savage. During a recent interview, Pamela was asked if Meghan's show had affected her in any way. On a scale of 1 to 10, she answered, 1. I didn't. Then came the subtle dagger. I didn't really look. It didn't take long for viewers to catch the subtext. She hadn't paid attention to Meghan's show because she simply didn't care. Without directly calling Meghan out, Pamela made it clear she wasn't interested. Not in the drama, not in the competition, and definitely not in Meghan. It was polite, it was classy, and it spoke volumes. Rather than fuel the headlines, Pamela stayed focused on her own path, even while media outlets rushed to spin it as a win for Meghan. But fans weren't buying it. They saw exactly what Pamela was doing, shutting it down without even giving it energy. But that wasn't the only narrative spinning out of control. While tabloids painted Pamela's silence as a green light for Meghan, another headline was quietly bubbling beneath the surface, one far more important to Meghan's long-term game. Reports began to surface claiming Meghan Markle's $100 million Netflix deal was somehow still alive. This stunned people. Just months ago, sources close to the streaming giant had confirmed the deal was effective. Cancelled after underwhelming viewership and mixed reviews. Meghan and Prince Harry had reportedly failed to deliver content that matched the hype, leading Netflix to quietly back out of their high-stakes agreement. But then came the twist. Insiders now suggest that although the original $100 million deal was scrapped, Meghan isn't completely out of the Netflix orbit. In fact, she might still be in talks, just not for the same kind of prestige project. Instead, the conversation seems to have shifted towards something much smaller and much more cautious. Rather than invest in another full-scale show, Netflix could be considering short specials, maybe tied to holidays or tied into Meghan's lifestyle brand, as ever. But that raises an important question. If Netflix backed out of the big money deal, why would they keep Meghan around at all? A major clue lies in what Netflix didn't say. While headlines hyped the idea of a second season of Meghan's show already filmed and ready to go, the truth is more complicated. What most people don't realize is that Meghan's team reportedly shot all the episodes at once, a full batch filmed back-to-back. Netflix simply chose to split the content into 2 separate releases. It's not a renewal, it's a repackaging. That subtle difference makes a big impact. Labeling it a second season implies continued support, but behind the scenes, there may have been no new investment, no new green light, and no real commitment. This tactic isn't new for streaming platforms. Netflix has pulled similar moves with other underperforming series, spacing out releases to make them appear more successful than they really are. The goal? Maintain buzz, reduce damage, and squeeze a bit more value from what's already in the vault. But viewers aren't easily fooled anymore. While Meghan's PR team pushes a narrative of ongoing growth, industry insiders are more skeptical. If Netflix truly believed in the show's success, they'd be greenlighting new seasons, not recycling old footage with a fresh label. The real story isn't about what's coming next. It's about why Netflix is still hesitating. And that leads us straight into the heart of the problem. At the center of Netflix's hesitation is, as ever, Meghan Markle's carefully branded lifestyle line meant to signal elegance, simplicity, and exclusivity. But behind the soft-focus product shots and curated social media posts, the brand is facing a storm of criticism that's becoming hard to ignore. The biggest issue? Scarcity theater. Each product launch from as ever seems to sell out almost instantly, a tactic often used to create hype and urgency. But consumers and analysts alike are beginning to question whether the sellouts are genuine or just a marketing illusion. Reputation consultants have weighed in, warning that this artificial scarcity could seriously damage the brand's long-term credibility. If everything disappears before fans can even browse, people stop believing it was ever real to begin with. One expert even compared it to a lemonade stand that closes after selling just one glass. Technically a success, but no one really buys into it. And Netflix has taken notice. Why pour millions into a lifestyle brand struggling to prove it can operate at scale? It's one thing to launch pretty products. It's another to fulfill demand. So far, As Ever has generated more questions than confidence. Still, behind the scenes, Meghan's team insists the brand is just getting started. Carefully sourced ingredients, handcrafted goods, small batch values, all of it framed as intentional, not strategic. But with every quick sellout, suspicion grows. The reality is, Netflix wants a partner that can scale, not just trend on Instagram. So why is Netflix still entertaining the idea of working with Meghan Markle, even after the original deal flopped? Simple. They may already be financially tied in. Rumors suggest that Netflix invested in early development for as-ever content, from branding to production assets. And now they're looking for a way to recoup it. Instead of walking away with a loss, Netflix might opt for something safer, low-risk, one-off specials tied to holidays or themed events. Think Thanksgiving dinners, holiday traditions, or seasonal recipes. Polished content that aligns with Meghan's image, but doesn't require a massive budget or multi-year commitment. There's also the publicity factor. Like it or not, Meghan generates headlines. And for a platform constantly chasing cultural relevance, that matters. Even if the content leans toward the cringy or overly curated, people still click, and memes still circulate. For Netflix, buzz is buzz, even if it's messy. One insider floated the idea of a first-look deal, a lightweight contract that lets Netflix keep tabs on Meghan's ideas without being locked into producing them. It's a just-in-case strategy. Hold the rights, evaluate the content, and only greenlight what seems worth the risk. In short, Netflix may not believe in Meghan's brand, but they're not ready to burn the bridge entirely. With minimal investment, they can still keep her in their orbit and mine the occasional moment of relevance. But betting on buzz is a dangerous game, especially when public opinion is shifting fast. For all the calculated branding and strategic media plays, one thing remains stubbornly out of Meghan Markle's control: her reputation. What began as a fresh, modern royal fairy tale has morphed into a polarizing saga. Each public appearance, product launch, or interview seems to spark more backlash than buzz. And it's not just critics piling on, even fellow celebrities are starting to treat her with quiet distance. Pamela Anderson's disinterest wasn't just shade, it was symbolic. Meghan isn't commanding the spotlight anymore. She's chasing it. Media analysts have pointed out a growing fatigue. The audience that once tuned in with curiosity has started to check out entirely. Documentaries and podcasts that were supposed to redefine Meghan's image instead drew lukewarm responses, or worse, indifference. And that's the real danger. It's not scandal that threatens Meghan's career, it's irrelevance. Public opinion has turned not because of one dramatic moment, but because of too many underwhelming ones. And no amount of elegant product packaging can reverse that. Experts warn that Meghan's brand now risks being seen as overly controlled, disconnected, and, perhaps most damaging of all, inauthentic. Fans can forgive a lot, but not fakery. As the hype fades and the headlines cool, Netflix has to weigh one question. Is Meghan Markle still a cultural force, or just another famous name in a fading file? Her next move could answer that. Right now, Meghan Markle's position is murky. Not quite inside Hollywood's inner circle, but not completely shut out either. She's floating in a strange middle ground. Famous enough to be talked about, but not powerful enough to command the deals she once did. The original $100 million Netflix deal is gone. That much is certain. The splashy contract that once promised blockbuster content and global prestige quietly fizzled after disappointing numbers. And that loss wasn't just financial, it was reputational. To have a major streamer walk away from such a high-profile partnership, that's a red flag for future collaborators. Still, she's not entirely out of the game. What's being explored now sounds less like a comeback and more like a compromise. Seasonal specials, branded tie-ins, first-look agreements, small, contained projects that keep her name on the roster without risking much. It's clear that Meghan is being repositioned. The Duchess image has cooled. The activist-turned-entrepreneur persona isn't landing as cleanly, and so she's pivoting, leaning more into lifestyle content, trying to capture an audience that craves aspiration over authenticity. It's a smart move, if it works. But the path ahead isn't guaranteed. Hollywood is fickle. One misstep, one poorly received launch, and the narrative resets again. So where does she really stand? Somewhere between opportunity and uncertainty. She's still on the board, but her next move has to matter, because now the question isn't just whether Netflix still wants Meghan, it's whether the audience does. So, is Meghan Markle still a player in Hollywood, or just a name clinging to past headlines? Her Netflix future may not be massive, but it's not over yet. Whether it's strategy or survival, one thing's clear: Meghan isn't backing down. And Netflix, they're still watching, just from a distance.